Hey, welcome, welcome. This is Miss AJ with Miss AJ Says, and I am so excited to introduce some amazing people to you. If you're tuning in, you know that we are talking about real estate, why it's considered the American dream, and why in the world um, some people have it and some people don't. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to uncover some things. Some of it's going to be very comfortable. Some of it's going to be very exciting. Some of it is going to be a little bit embarrassing and uncomfortable, and we are, we're just folks talking to folks about what folks need to talk about, so we're going to talk about it. Also, the reason that Miss AJ Says is here is to have conversations about tough things, in between humans who want to know, who want to learn, who want to do better, who want to work together. We are not against each other, we are for each other, and as I always say, together we are undefeated. There is nothing that can beat us. So I'd like to introduce you to a couple of people who are here right now. Let me start off with Josh Bellinger. Hi, Josh. How are you doing?
Hey AJ, how are you? How's everybody doing tonight?
Oh man, this is going to be amazing. Just I know we got a chance to meet you a little bit during the promo, but give us a little bit of information about yourself, and then we'll be asking each person to kind of introduce themselves and let the audience know who you are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, once again, my name is Josh Bellinger, and I am a realtor, real estate agent in the kind of South King County, Pierce County area. Our office is in Federal Way, but I kind of handle all of the Pierce County specific area as well. And I have been doing this for only 5 months. So I am a new to the business, new to the game, new kid on the block, as they say. But in this short amount of time, I have had more than just get my feet wet, but I've been I dove head first into this thing, and I have been able to be very successful. I have seven transactions under contract so far. Four of those have closed so far. So I have hit the ground running, over $1 million in sales so far. So things are going great for me, but I am learning new things every single day, and I am excited for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Wow, love it. Thank you so much, Josh. And then next up, we have Dave Jones. Dave, how are you? And I'm really jealous of the painting behind you. It might
I'm
end up
good.
missing sometime soon.
Yeah, that's Tacoma artists. We have a lot of Tacoma local art in our office, so it's
Whoa,
it's,
nice.
it's a wave down here. But yeah, my name is Dave Jones, owner and operator of Windermere Abode down here in Old Town Tacoma. We've been open since December of 2017. I opened this shop with my wife, and actually, my wife is the real estate agent. I am the career educator, and then I got out of education to open this office with my wife, and so now we own and operate Windermere Abode down here in Tacoma. Uh, so yeah, outside of that, I'm a community dude, hooper, hip hop head, and I fight white supremacy every day.
There you go. As any human does, right?
Yeah,
Because it's well, we're going to get into that in a little bit because
we'll
we
get
got some
into it.
really
I'll
great
explain
great things
myself.
to share.
I'll explain
Oh,
myself. Don't
I
worry.
can't wait. I'm looking at your left eyebrow and I'm like, he's ready. So
Let's do
I
it.
stay
your
ready.
right one, I don't know, but your left eyebrow is ready. Okay, and Mr. Colin Parker Stevens, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Miss AJ. How are you?
Oh, fantastic! So you know,
Excellent.
y'all. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a secret. Don't tell the rest of the audience because obviously they can't hear me.
All
I
right,
did not sleep a wink last night. I was like up
I'll-
waiting for this. Like, let's go. So
Let's
tell
go.
everybody a little bit about yourself,
yeah,
Colin.
absolutely. So I'm from the Seattle area originally. Ended up doing a stint in Kansas, and I've lived in Los Angeles, and I'm just so happy to be back home in Seattle. I'm a sales executive for a high-rise developer out of Canada who's just now beginning to build in the Seattle area. I just love this city. I'm really excited to be back. And about me, I live with my partner south of the city. I'm actually in the print shop that she owns. It's a little quiet place because she has two little ones at home, and being a step parent is kind of the light of my life and kind of the new journey for me. So I'm just excited to be joined with such talented people. And Josh, you're killing it. That's amazing. Really, over a million?
I appreciate it.
That's
I
nuts.
appreciate that.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's awesome.
I love it. Oh my gosh. So first of all, you all, I am so thankful for the amount of talent knowledge, power, and empowerment that is on these pages. We also have Jessica, I think, is having a little bit of technical difficulty, so we're going to have her join in as soon as she's able to. No problem. This is just real life, right? This is what it is. But I'm amazed at all of you, the things that you know, the knowledge that you have, and the fact that you're willing to share it with our audience today. Thank you so much for lending your time, because there's a lot of people who, and I included, have no idea anything about real estate, no idea about the importance. I'll be honest, and I'm going to be like transparent. No one in my immediate family owns a home. Like, we didn't grow up with that knowledge. We didn't grow up with that information. We didn't grow up with the importance of it. And you don't know what you don't know. So what I'm excited about is letting people know the things that you do know. Hey, Jessica, we're going to try and bring her in. Hi. And we're just going to make it work. That's what we're going to do. So
Make it work.
the first question, and I've had a lot of people, since I've been posting that we're going to be talking about this, I've had a lot of people who, due to lack of knowledge or honestly a little bit of cynicism, why is real estate important? Like, only fancy people own homes, only the rich muckety mucks, I ain't like that, and all this other stuff. And there's some misinformation that's out there. Can you all share, why is real estate important? Why is it part of the American dream? I would just love to have a conversation about that.
I'll let Josh go. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready. I mean, I was trying to be polite, you know what I'm saying? Jessica got on the call. I don't know if it's ladies first, I'm just polite, but I'm ready to go. To be honest with you, I would say, AJ, you actually already hit on a couple of things. Is I am passionate. So along with being a real estate agent, I am also a head football coach at Stadium High School in Tacoma. I've been an educator for the past 10 years as well, helping people just navigate paths of life and just, college and higher education and what to do with yourself. You touched on something that was really, really big. Unfortunately, not a lot of people grew up with the knowledge what it means, what real estate really is. I remember I am very newly kind of going through, I didn't even know what the term actually real estate was, and obviously as my realtors, and people that have been through those classes and things, like real estate is real property, things that are attached to land. And the crazy thing is like, it's something just as simple as that, is we don't have the knowledge of that. So the first thing I will say is that really at the end of the day is I actually did a thing about this a little while ago, but I actually went back to the history of like landlords and renting. Like that was supposed to be a transitional thing. Like when us as renters was supposed to be a temporary situation, right? You were never supposed to go your whole life. Back in the days of when they had like the lords of the land, they were never designed to be able to actually look at real estate and like never to be a owner. So from even, years and years and years have passed by, and this concept of, I rent, there's no power in that, right? There's no ownership of saying, really from an ownership standpoint too, is like looking at it and saying, I never have my own stake to being able to pass this thing down, because ownership, there's rights that come with that, right? As a renter, as a tenant, you don't have those same rights. I can't pass away as a renter and then pass that on to my kids, right? I have to, right. There's a will, there's things that go along with ownership rights. And for us to be, and I'll get real deep with it real fast, but for transition with generational wealth and the generational things that have gone on with our country for a lot of years, that has really been the biggest thing that's transitioned folks into the positions that they're in right now, is through real estate. Because if you own a land or you own territory and you stake your family's name on that, right? Years that piles on over and over, and that land now expands because you had something to start it with. So I can get real passionate, long-winded, but I'm gonna let the other brothers on the call right now be able to kind of tackle this as well. But we were never meant to be renters, so that's my thing as far as why is real estate important. It's the natural transition of life, is to be a owner and to be able to pass those things down to those that are not able to kind of attain that.
Right. Okay. I love, again, These are some things I did not know about. And I'm sure some of the people who are not only watching now, but we will be watching the replay, this is not information that was passed on. And you were how old when you found out? 2 days ago? What? No.
No, well, this is new information though. I'll be honest with you too. I came from a single mother, and she worked her tail off to provide for me and my brother. She showed us ownership, but being able to walk it out from a different standpoint is different. So I am actually learning and redeveloping my mindset around money from a consumer mindset to a legacy mindset, and that's
Whoa.
Yeah.
I love that. Can you explain that a little bit? And I'd love to take that and have someone else jump in on that. Consumer to legacy mindset. What does that mean to you guys? How do you explain that to someone who has never heard that before?
Yeah, if I may, you took the word legacy right out of my mouth. I mean, that was that next piece, right? That's what you hand off, and to be able to own something that exists in reality such that you can hand it off to your kids free and clear, other than, property taxes in the case of real estate, that is profound. And you touched on it briefly, but some of the massive gaps that we see in wealth disparity in this country is directly related to the fact that the legacy of homeownership hasn't been able to build over time, and assets haven't been able to build their value. And then that hasn't been able to be handed down to the next generation, for certain groups of people. And so legacy is so, you're right on point there with it. And I too, I grew up in a single mother household for the beginning of my life as well. And we were just trying to make rent, that was life. Right. And I've been fortunate. I didn't know until I got in this game, just like you, I did go to college and I had all these opportunities. They don't teach you about real estate in college, at least not, not when I went to college, So long story endless, I feel you right there. I definitely do. And legacy is crucial. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Jessica,
Yeah.
we are so
Hi.
glad you were here.
Hey.
Yeah.
What's up?
She made it.
I had to relocate for a better signal.
There you go.
Here's what I love about you, your tenacity. You're like, that didn't work, on to the next. That didn't work, on to the next. That didn't work, on to the next. Go on, tenacity.
Right.
That's all right. I am not mad at you. Since you are just joining us, we're just in the middle of talking about why is real estate so important. If you guys don't mind, I'd love for Jessica to get in a little bit of input. From what you've experienced, why is real estate so important to, and we were just talking about legacy and wealth building. What does that mean to you? What comes to mind when you hear that?
Real estate, in my opinion, is important because it basically allows opportunities that may not have been available to a person without a property, without owning real estate. So, for example, a lot of clients will accrue equity in a property faster than they will accrue funds in a savings account because, like he previously said, a lot of these people are living check to check, just trying to make ends meet. And so to save money is a challenge on a day-to-day, whereas if they were homeowners and paying a mortgage instead of someone else's rent, they would be accruing wealth through the equity in that home as they make their mortgage payments each month. Home ownership basically provides another means for families to accrue wealth outside of being able to save money from their day-to-day earnings.
Fantastic. And since we're talking to you right now, you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself, and you just gave me like 3 textbooks right there compiled into, and I'm like, I feel smarter already. And I also feel like there's a lot I don't know just from hearing that. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and to everybody as to why it is you are an expert in this area?
Well, my name is Jessica Talton White, and I'm a mortgage consultant. I assist clients with the financing portion of the home buying process. So I'm essentially your first step. You want to speak with the lender when you're looking to get pre-approved or you're looking to join the home ownership tribe. You want to start out with the lender so you can kind of know what you qualify for, where you are in the process, if you're ready to go now, or if there's some work that needs to be done to get you ready. So I'd be your first stop. I've been in the business for almost 8 years now, and I just really, really, truly enjoy what I do, and I truly enjoy helping my clients get in homes.
Yeah. Oh man, I am so glad you all are here. Like, I'm just gonna stop and look at each one of you and say thank you for being here. Like I already feel smarter just being on the same screen with y'all. Like I'm with them. And thank you so much for sharing that, Jessica. For those who are like just starting, because I'm sitting there, I'm hearing these phrases, I'm hearing these things which you guys are used to hearing. But what if I don't know what a lender is? What is a lender?
So a lender is essentially the person that gives you the money to purchase the property.
So
Yeah,
my
we
best
kind of
friend.
yeah, we manage the finance side. You stop to us and you kind of find out, hey, how much home can I afford? Because if you just go out there and you kind of start shopping, you might fall in love with something that may be out of your price range, and that would be a really bad experience. And so you want to come to a lender to say, hey, am I ready to buy a home now? If I'm not, what do I need to do to be ready? And if I am ready, how much do I qualify for? What does that monthly payment look like? What are my down payment options? What's required of me? So I would be that person to help you walk through those questions.
Oh man, yes, you are my best friend now. So
Jessica, I don't mean to cut in, but Jessica, can I ask you a
okay.
question? Because I have a lot of first-time home buyers that I work with, and they always are under the impression that if they talk to a lender, that it's going to cost them some money that they're obligated to work with you, and that you're going to ask for maybe their firstborn, or maybe you're going to ask for their next paycheck. Can you let them know how much it is to have a conversation with even a realtor? I mean, even a lender, how much that costs? Especially buying.
It is free 99. It
Wait.
costs you nothing to talk to a lender, to have a consultation, to figure out where you are and what it's going to take to get you where you want to be, or what are the next steps if you're ready to go. It costs you nothing to have a consultation.
That is fantastic. And then of course, I do want to hear really quick from Mr. Dave Jones, because he graciously allowed to go. But I do definitely want to hear from you. To your mind as to why real estate is important.
I'll be just straightforward and blunt. It's to build wealth, and Black people in the country have not been able to build wealth. So when we look at numbers from the U.S. Census Bureau from 2013, for whites, the net worth is 132,483. That's a median net worth, 132,483. This is from the U.S. Census Bureau, 2013. For Black, it's 9,211. So that's the median. So that's why I'm really like, I don't have time. You know what I mean? Like this is really, that's a really big gap. 132,483 to 9,211. So it's to build wealth over time. That wealth accumulates, and just like Colin said, he did a really good job of breaking down like how leaving that legacy without property taxes, and the home is free and clear, and you can pass that down to your kids, or your kids have it and they sell it. So we see that a lot where you have estate sales, and people can sell out. Parents die and they sell off the house and they get $500,000 and split it between two kids, right? So now all of a sudden you have $250,000 to just. That's where that number comes from. It's but there's also other factors. But I just think that historically it's to hopefully build wealth and pass that on to the next generation.
Okay.
And Dave, can I ask you, was that net worth, or that's net worth, correct?
Net worth, yeah. So that's a net worth.
That's important for people that may not know the distinction there between net worth and income. Right. So
I have a number too. So net worth excluding the equity in your home. So this is without the equity in home. It is 51,100 to 2,725.
Yeah, it's right there. It's right there.
So that's a pretty big gap. When you're talking about starting out of the blocks, to me that should make you go. That should make you angry a little bit. Like it should make you.
That also talks to for you were talking about having that money. Okay, parent dies, split between the kids. They get whatever they want. That also talks to building businesses. Not having the money to go ahead and build your own, having that savings. A lot of people start their own business not only by getting money lent to them, but also from family. If you have anything to give a family member who's trying to start or to put themselves up by their bootstraps, so it's just a lose-lose, it seems like.
I mean, it is, but it's not at the same time. I think it's a win-win, because we have people like the people on this call willing to put information out there and share You have Jessica as a lender. You have, people out there that are willing to help and really, get people, try to provide the education and means to hopefully take advantage of the opportunities that are up there.
Yeah. So we're talking about real estate. We're talking about why it's important, but we're also, as we're starting to bring up, some people, it's a lot harder to get into American dream. And you were touching base on the difference between uh, how a person is represented in the world in regards to wealth, in regards to quote unquote value. So the question is, what is keeping people of color from owning a home? Because it seems like, and each one of you kind of touched on this, that there is a huge gap between the two. Well, where did this even come from?
Yeah.
He's like, and I'll be honest, I will talk to this. There are a number of people with this knowledge that at this point, when I asked, stepped back and were like, all of a sudden ghosted. All of a sudden I couldn't get them on anymore because they got nervous about this. And I'm sitting there like, wide-eyed and bushy tailed, what's going on? And I'm learning that there is, speaking of legacies, there's a legacy of just proportionate hurdles. Can we, I know it be difficult, but this is tough stuff. We're going to get this into this for people who don't honestly know why it is that people of color do not have homes. So let's talk about it. Let's hear what's going on and come up with some solutions.
It's all by design. If I'll jump in on that, it's all by design. It's de facto segregation. So in 1934, the Federal Housing Administration, which is also known as the FHA, they're going through a mortgage crisis in the 30s, as well as also going through a housing shortage, and kind of there's a lot of things going on in the housing industry at that time. And so they started building homes out in suburban areas, like undeveloped areas, and started building suburbs. The issue with that is that those suburbs were only built for white people. They weren't built for black people. And that's not because of opinion or bias. That's because of federal law and policy. And later on, it was called redlining. So later on, the term in the 60s was coined as redlining. But what that means is like, so if a black, like if I'll just talk about the FHA. So the FHA had something called the underwriting manual. And so basically in that manual, it said incompatible racial groups should not be permitted to live in the same communities, quote. That's in quotes. That was in that manual. So basically they would not allow people to, like Jessica. So if Jessica, for example, is a lender and she in a black family comes up and says, I want to buy that house, I want to take out a loan on that house, she would not be able to, based on the Federal Housing Administration underwriting manual, because they were black. So discrimination on race. So then you had these places where mortgages wouldn't be insured based on race and other qualifications, but race typically played a factor because you can't hide your skin color, right? You walk in and then it's just automatic no. So Jessica could probably speak maybe a little bit more on that, but from a lending perspective. But yeah, that practice took a long time and went on until, and actually it's present day and it just looks different now. But in 1968, the Fair Housing Act actually was enacted. I was born in 1978. I'm putting my age out there, but like I was born in 1978. That was only 10 years before I was born.
Wow.
So this is not an old thing that happened in the past. This is still going on today.
Well, and another thing to that, that point that you said, Dave, is this idea of it's so much being more mental than anything, right? Is this, if you have this idea to where you are going, as an African American family or a black family that are going to apply for this loan, and you want to live in a certain community, and you're told that you actually only, your loan type, right, is only for this specific community, and those communities look a certain way, right? Or you know, as we call them today, like I even talk about the fact of there's certain neighborhoods, right, where I live in Parkland, Washington, where we have a SARS marketplace, right? And the crazy thing about SARS marketplace, a lot of people know, is predominantly Hispanic and low income, and the produce there is trash. I'll be honest with you, but a part of it is like these ideas of these assumptions to where these people are going to be living. So there's a lot of fast foods up highway. There's a lot of fast food deserts, right? These are all areas to where, on top of the fact that you can't live in the suburbs, you now have to live in these specific areas where there's payday loans on every block, right? Where there is apartment complexes on every block. It's transient neighborhoods. Is these specific schools districts. So this is so much deeper than like what Dave was saying but it's a psychological thing too, to where if you don't see yourself, the sense of belonging, right? If you don't see yourself in certain neighborhoods, that's by design, right? Mm-hmm. I actually just went down to Arizona and visited my brother, and every time he talked, my brother lives in Phoenix, and every time he talked about Scottsdale, you would have thought Scottsdale was like this. And if any been down there, it was my first time down there. And it was crazy because we were driving into Scottsdale. The funny thing was we were going to Lolo's Chicken and Waffles in Scottsdale. The crazy thing was when we were driving from Phoenix to Scottsdale, you could visually see high-rise build. I mean, you could see banks, like Fortune 500 companies. Like, you went from, like I said, payday loans to liquor stores to 7-Eleven type, mom and pop, and then literally like in the next couple of blocks, once you entered the city, it just changed, So these things are, mentally by design. And I think the bigger thing is what did it do for the mindset and the legacy of folks that are just coming off of segregation, are just coming off of this idea to where you're not even equal, but now you have to be confined to these specific areas to live. So I think it's a mental thing more than anything. And that's when I talk about the consumer mindset, is just the mindset that what's right now, right? What's something I can do, right? Okay. The rental mindset is what's right now, right? I got to pay rent. I need to right now. It's going to take me a process to be a homeowner, right? There's a mental process you have to go through. We live in the right now. We're not legacy mindseted so that we can see our home as an investment and as shelter. So it's all together.
Okay. Well, I do want to. I heard a phrase called, let me see if I remember. Blockbusting.
Yeah.
Can someone speak to that? Because we're talking about what's keeping people from owning a home. What are the stumbling blocks? What are the hurdles that have happened and are still happening, so people can identify them, and then we can tell them what to do regarding them? What is blockbusting? Because I'm thinking Blockbuster, like videos. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. I can pretty much guarantee I'm wrong on that. So someone tell me what is right.
Yeah, I can speak to my understanding of blockbusting. It's looked a lot of different ways. For a specific example, a lot of agents are often looking for listings, and the way that you do that is old school ways. You go and knock on doors. You knock on doors and say, hey, this is why you should be selling your home, right? And this is why you should hire me. Well, there was an activity that took place for many years, specifically in the suburbs, following the 1930s, and that great, all the giant building that was made outside of larger cities. And they would go into a neighborhood and essentially knock on a door, and in one way or another say, look, there's a person of color that's going to be moving into this neighborhood, and so your property value is going to go down. And so you should list with me because I've got a buyer, or I've got an opportunity to sell this off quickly, or I want to protect your value. And so what that was doing was leveraging racial panic and prejudice, right, purely out of greed, And so that is easier to pinpoint now because it's so obvious when someone does it, but it still happens, it still happens. Like with any of these practices, it's just a little more under the radar and a little more insidious. And until we're talking about it publicly, people wouldn't even know that it's happening. So blockbusting has definitely been an issue, and one that's often not talked about. And I think it's important to bring it up.
Yeah. And I do want to step in and say the reason that we're even having this show, honestly, is because of the conversation I was having with Colin. And he really gave me some information I didn't know about. And actually not only encouraged me to do the show, but said that he would be willing to step up and be like, hey, this is what's going on. Because like I said, there's a lot of people that I talked to, and as soon as we started talking about this stuff, they were like, I'm out, because it was messing with their money. And that to me, okay, let me be blunt, a little suspect, because I'm like, if you knew that's been going on, and now you don't want to talk about it because you're scared that it's going to mess with your money, is this something you're practicing? So I'm kind of side-eyeing a couple of people right now, but I'm like this, and like you said, Colin, until we just talk about it, until we put it out there, and as humans look at it and just be like, look, this is the dumb stuff that was going on, but we got a future that is bigger than the dumb stuff that happened in the past.
Right.
And the only way we do this is together. The only way that it is being bold enough to say, I am a human and I'm standing against this. And I don't care what color you are, as long as you're standing for humans, let's go. Okay? Because the only way we're going to get there is together. The dream is for all of us to be together. It's not you over here, me over there, and them over there. It's we deserve to be in the neighborhood together. As a matter of fact, let's buy houses together and let's all just be neighbors.
I'd do that.
I'm going to say this really quick. Because with my show, a lot of times we're talking about tough stuff. We're talking about the things that most people don't want to talk about. And I know that there's some people who are either watching this right now or will watch it later, in hearing this. And let's be blunt, these were white real estate agents that were doing this. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just be honest about it. There were some people who did some messed up things. And right now, one of the things that we're experiencing with racial tension right now is a lot of people see topics like this and run because it is uncomfortable on both sides. Nobody's comfortable with this. Nobody's happy with this. Well, there's some, but I don't consider them human. But I know there's people who are tuning in and this is making you uncomfortable. I want to stop and say right now, yes, it is uncomfortable, but it's okay to be uncomfortable right now. Don't stay in guilt. Don't stay in shame. Some of you did not know any of this information. Black, white, purple, whatever. I didn't know this information. I'm putting the shame down. I'm putting the guilt down. I should have known. I should have seen it. Okay. But let's move forward. Because carrying guilt and carrying shame means we can't carry answers. We can't carry solutions. So I just, and Colin, you said something really, really important about forgiveness to me earlier. And I would love for you to just share this really quickly with our audience about really looking at tough information. And instead of internalizing guilt, internalize forgiveness and being solution-minded. And you said some really great things. Can you just share it with our audience real quick?
Yeah, I certainly can. Obviously there's a reckoning that's happening in this country. And it was time, I hope, it's a time for a lot of people to look inward. And what that looked like for me was looking at my industry and say, okay, what's my industry doing and what is it not doing, right? All of that to say, yeah, people have certainly done things in the past that they may be feeling a lot of guilt about. What I shared with you, Miss AJ, is that there is an element of forgiveness that's often not touched on, and that is the element of compassion. And so for those out there who are feeling guilt and are having a hard time forgiving themselves, having some compassion and recognizing that there are plenty of shoulds out there, and you could should all over the place, and you could should all over everything.
Yeah.
Or you can will, and I will do this, and we will do this together. And so what I ask people is to change the conversation of should in their hearts, treat themselves with some compassion and say, okay, now what am I going to do? What am I going to do today such that this doesn't have to happen anymore? And so that's what I shared with you, and I try to share as much as I can. Like, there's compassion possible here when you forgive yourself. But part of it is just having the conversation. So
Yeah.
I can go on, I'm very passionate about it, but that's as succinct as I'll be for you.
And thank you. I think a lot of people needed to hear that. I know I need to hear it sometimes where I'm caught in a mistake, or I'm caught in a situation where, yeah, I was the problem. Like it was me. And
Yeah.
instead of staying in my feelings about, oh, how I did so hard. Okay, yeah, I messed up. Let's move on. How do I find solutions? And I love the fact that you mentioned forgiveness means action.
It does. It has to.
Yeah. So for our allies that are out there who are looking at this and going, okay, well, what do I do? Get some information, turn it into action. Speak up against stuff like this. If you find out that this is happening to someone of color, do something. Don't just sit there and wring your hands. It's okay to not feel okay about it, but we are in a time and an era and a season of action, of not just saying things, but doing, putting your body in there, putting your voice in there.
Can I interject on one thing that Colin said was really, really fascinating that I've told multiple people, which is look inward, and not only just look inward, but educate yourself. We have books now,
Right.
and there's no excuse to not be reading up on where you stand in this, no matter what side it is that you're on. I don't care what your beliefs are, what your prior belief system was. We all have blind spots, even those of us I know what my blind spots are, and I try to work on those, and I ask questions about those, and I'm the oppressed one, so I'm the one who's been discriminated against, and I'm sitting here reading up like, why are they doing that? And I go read. And so I understand reading that it wasn't my thing either, but there's audiobooks. There's just different ways. There's movies. Segregatedbydesign.com is a great place to learn about redlining. It's a 17-minute video. So there's different ways that you can get this information and just go, oh, I didn't know that. And so then that can hopefully spawn whatever that action may be, because you know where to enter, because you have education and knowledge.
Yeah.
It's hard to enter the double dutch if you don't even know how to jump, right? So you gotta learn how to jump first, and then you can get in and do the double dutch.
There you go. And I would love to, and I love the fact that we have this group of people with a wealth of knowledge, and I'm inviting each one of you. You have access to my business page. Some of the books that you're talking about, please put them on the page so our people can see them and have that. So I'm letting everybody know that our panelists will be adding things to the page, some suggested reading, because it's about action. It's not just, oh, I feel bad about this. It is, I feel bad, and from this point, I am going to do, because I love how you said that, Colin. It's not the what did you say? Say it again. What you said, that was brilliant.
Well, just that, it's not about doing what I should have done. It's really about what I will do today. Yeah.
So
and that can be as easy as picking up a book. Absolutely, Dave. Like, absolutely. Sometimes that's just the action that knocks over the first domino, that knocks over the next domino.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
also another question we may want to raise too is, once we discover that we are the oppressed, how do we take our power back? And, for me, that's through education and empowering ourselves through knowledge, right? So what do we do as a people to be able to get approved, to get into these neighborhoods, to change the narrative, to build that generational wealth for our families? And so another challenge will be to educate ourselves around what do we need to work on in our financial situations to make these opportunities available for ourselves too.
Yeah, Jessica, I think it's important too. Like, people don't even have to be looking at a house. Like, just to even sit down with someone like you and say, like, what does my roadmap even look like? It could be 2 to 3 years from now, but at least I'm making decisions that are intentional moving forward. So just, you don't have to be in the market for a house right now. Just even go say, like, hey, if I want to, like, what would I have to do?
Right.
So
Having a plan.
Dave, real fast. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna say real fast. You touched on something that I just had this recent conversation with somebody around. I think people automatically get to the point to where, I think that's why it's scary for them, is they feel like when they talk with a realtor or somebody that has the knowledge that they need, or a lender, they have this idea that we're gonna just push them into a decision right now. And I think that's the biggest myth overall, is that I want to work with clients for a lifetime. This is a long game, right? And I know, just based off usually our first conversation, I already know in my head if it's going to be something to where, hey, you're ready to go. I've told clients, like, hey, just based off what you told me with where you're at credit wise, what you're paying, you're in a month, it might be a good conversation to have with a lender right now about moving, saying forward. But the key there is what you guys have been saying, and I keep going back to it because I'm so huge on it. It's the coach in me, is mindset. Before you become a homeowner on paper, your mindset has to be an owner. Because here's the deal. That's going to get you to foreclosure quicker than anything, is having the renter mindset. Somebody else is going to fix it. Somebody else is going to do this. I don't need to handle my money different than I did before. Because when you become a homeowner, right, you have to now, in order to take advantage of the equity, in order to do the things you need to do to put yourself in a better position, you have to have your mindset on the track of, hey, this is an investment. So now I have to educate myself. Now I have to understand what I can do with the money that I have. And because I talk to people all the time, they're like, yeah, it's not a great investment to purchase a home because, you can only take the money out when you're doing a cash out refi, or when you're selling. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, too, I think one thing that people also forget is simply the same thing that Jessica said at the very beginning of the call. It is the biggest savings account that you will already have. And really, when we talk about annuities and different things, is any of that stuff short-term or is it long-term? Mindset, right? Is we're looking short-term. That's why we see this as not a great investment, because we're not thinking long-term. We're looking 18 years. Is that a high five, virtual high five?
Actually, I have a question, because you're using some certain phrases like annuity. Because again, I'm talking for like kindergarten people in real estate. Like I'm just playing with the blocks and like chewing on some of them. So I don't know what you talking. Oh my God, that block. What? Y'all can laugh at me, it's okay. What's an annuity for people who are absolute newbies to this? What are you talking about? Like that's a big word.
Yeah, so I'm gonna not answer that, because for me, my knowledge of it is not to the point to where I feel like extremely adequate on letting you know. I just see it as a long-term investment. So something that you're going to take advantage of later in life, but you're going to have to start now. So I know there's a more specific dynamic terminology than that. So I will pass it over to my lender.
Oh, good move.
I am a lender, not a financial advisor.
Right. Where's the financial advisors at? Next week on AJ.
No, but my understanding of an annuity as well is to be a long-term investment. So I'm not too familiar around all the details of annuities. I just know that they're long-term investments that you make contributions to that are useful later in age in life.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny, you were saying this jokingly, Josh, but we probably are going to be doing a part 2 to this, which is because if I'm hearing correctly, because we've already talked about why real estate is important. We've talked about some of the stumbling blocks to it, but it sounds like when you have a realtor, when you have a lender, when you have people who have that knowledge, they're working side by side with you in order to navigate those things and make sure you don't fall into those traps. Am I understanding that correctly?
1,000%. I was waiting for someone.
No, don't anybody say anything.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, 1,000%. I mean, it's. I tell people all the time, and here's a one big myth, and I'm gonna just debunk real fast. Is that I talk to people all the time, and especially my friends too, specifically. Like people are like, oh yeah, I gotta find like somebody that's a lender or a realtor that's not my friend, like, because you can't mix your business with like friendship. And to me that mindset is off, because I see it as a total opposite. Why wouldn't you want somebody that has your best interest? Anybody that I consider to be my friend, I'm going to go to bat for you. I'm going to work twice as hard for you because I know you. I got to see you every day. So the idea, I don't want to go with Josh. I know he's a realtor. I know he has good information for me, but I want to go with this person I just met on this website that I don't know. because I, you know what I mean? Like I don't have a relationship with this person because it's business. That to me is the whole wrong thing, because it's a relationship. When you look at something as transactional, then yes, get somebody you don't know. And then when you leave, that you never see that person again. My goal is long-term. I mean, relationship is long-term, right? The goal is for me to get you in the house as a buyer. And then 5 years later, if you're a first-time home buyer, we're going to sell the house together, right? And then we're going to get you into your next house. So the concept and the mindset behind good realtors is this idea of this is a long-term relationship, right? I have clients all the time. I had a lady today, I told her, I said, maybe right now is not the best time for you to purchase a home. Let's look in the next 2 to 3 years and see, you know, what the market's going to do, because right now with what's your budget and what you're trying to do, it might not be the best decision for you. And that's against, right? Oh, wait, he just wants a paycheck. You know what I mean? Like he just wants to like, you know what I mean? So just connecting yourself with people that are going to steer you in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah, I often tell buyers that I rep, like, I'm here to talk you out of the house. I'm here to talk you out of the house. I'm here to tell you every single thing that could go wrong. Your friends are the people that do that, not the salesperson that just wants you to buy. It's just like, you know, your friend wants to go home with someone at the end of the night and you're like, I don't think that's the person, right? Like,
we just took a turn. Wait, what?
You know what I'm saying? Like, a friend watching your back. They're like, hey, maybe not this house, right? Yeah, I mean, you do need a friend. I love that you said that. It's so true. It's so true.
And here's the thing, honestly, as I've gotten to know each one of you, the passion that you have for people over and that actually fuels your work. That's one of the things that I am so impressed with each one of you. Your passion for people to know and to know better. You're taking your time out to share this information. I am just honestly, that's not what I heard about real estate agents or lenders. You know, it's almost I'm yes, it's like right next to a used car salesman. It's just like, hey, yeah, what this house?
You didn't just say that, AJ. Come on now, come on now, AJ. Come on.
You hear things.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Cars depreciate, homes appreciate.
Facts. Come on, Jess.
I appreciate
I'm just
you.
saying.
But what I'm learning from talking to each one of you is it is not that in any way, shape, or form. Like I would recommend people to go to each one of you, because you've shown, each one of you, first of all, have an education background. You are all teachers, and I love, you know, I'm a teacher too. So we're just like, who needs to learn something? Did you get it? No, let's go over it again. Okay, you didn't get it this way. Let's take it from this angle. Let's try this again. So I love the fact of the education and to let people know. So I have a question. Because honestly, me and my husband are probably looking to get a house in about 3 years. So if I'm coming to you, what are the things that you would be recommending to me as next steps? So it's like, okay, it's not right now, like Josh was talking about. It's not right in this moment. So that type of person, what are things that you would be recommending to educate themselves, to get prepared, and as Josh said, get that mindset? And I would love to hear from each one of you just one piece that you would be like, hey, I would really suggest okay. But don't actually say that, because that would look weird. Only I can do that. So any one of you, what are some recommendations for someone who's in that season right there? What's next?
I would recommend maybe a first-time homebuyer class to get yourself familiar with products and options and what the process looks like. And even if you're comfortable, a step further, talking with a lender, and maybe even putting an application in early so that you know truly where you are right now. Because it would be horrible to say, hey, I want to buy a house in 3 years, and wait until that third year comes around to try to get your credit pulled, to try to put together an application and realize you're not where you want to be. And you could have been working on that during those 3 years. So I would definitely do the first-time home buyer, and definitely talk with a professional lender that's experienced.
Gotcha. That's information I didn't know. I didn't know that you could apply just to be like, hey, what's that? It's kind of like just like checking your credit score and stuff like that. It's just I'm just trying to
Checking
get
your
some
credit
info.
score, finding out how much it is you qualify for based on the income that you currently have. Does that get you the property that you're looking to purchase in the area that you want to buy in? If not, what do you need to be doing in those 3 years to get you to that point? How far off are you? It's almost like putting together a roadmap, right? Instead of the blind leading the blind, and you're just assuming, hey, in 3 years I'll come talk to you. No, talk to me now, and let's get you ready so that in 3 years you're going out to look for that home that you want. Preparation is key.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd give them Jessica Talton White's phone number, and I'd say, go talk to her. Really, but this is the thing. You know, Alaska and SoCal are very far apart, right? There you go. I love that.
Yeah.
Alaska and SoCal are very far apart, right? But if you're leaving an airplane from New York, it just takes a little tweak of that airplane that'll alter if you end up in Alaska or in SoCal.
Oh,
You go to Jessica and you say, okay, I want to end up in SoCal. I want the beaches. I want the sunshine. What direction do I need to go? And let her point you in the direction.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
love that.
Come on now.
All right. This is what
Right.
happens when you get super smart and super awesome teachers all up in the house.
I love it.
And just in case you were wondering about Colin's information, there says, ha
Yeah, and I guess I have, you know, just and that was going to be my first question too, is if you were in a situation where you were a first-time home buyer versus somebody that is currently in a home, right? And because there's a lot of those folks too that are worried right now because they want to possibly put their house on the market, but they're scared because of COVID. And here's the kicker about that too. Those of you that are in the market every single day, I mean, you know, to me, I'm telling folks, if you're looking to sell in the next 1 to 2 years, you have to be thinking right now is the best time, regardless. Yes, it's going to be a little bit difficult every now and again to find what you're looking for in a low inventory market. But here's the kicker is you have buying power, okay? You have equity in your home that's going to give you a down payment that possibly might be 20% conventional loan, or at least put you in a position to where you have a lot more of a down payment than somebody else. So your appraisal might be different. There's a lot of things that play into that. So looking at your equity and knowing that if you're already in a home, that's extremely important as well. And I agree with for the first-time home buyers, you know, I'll be honest with you too, and I'm just going to say this. I don't want to step on any toes. I think the first-time home buyer classes are great, but I also think that they are a sales-specific tactic for a lot of folks that are just looking for people to get clients, because I have specific clients that I have pushed into that I've been working with, and I'm saying, hey, go to this first-time home buyer class. It's great. And then they met another realtor because they thought that because they said class that they have to be working with somebody who does that class. You know, so I just want to educate, and I'm not saying that in a negative light at all. I'm just saying it to where if you have a realtor that's your first time home buyer class, right? If you have a realtor that's not willing to give you the one-on-one on what you need to be doing over years, then yes, go to a first-time homebuyer class. If you don't know a realtor, yes, go to a first-time homebuyer class. But if you know one of us specifically, like we are your first-time homebuyer class. So I want to make sure they understand that too, is that there is this level of just making sure you are understanding what the resources you do have, because there's some people that still come to my website and think that only the houses on my website are the things that I have control of as a realtor, not knowing that I have what's called the multiple listing service, and I can give them any house that's in the state of Washington. So there's a lot of missed things that I found, even in my short time being in the real estate business, that I really want to debunk, because really education is so much key. And reaching out to folks, like you have to take the first step and reach out to somebody that knows more than you, period. Right?
Right.
Call me up. I actually have some clients right now too. I'm telling them specifically, take your time right now, right? You're not in a position to where you have to sell. You're not in a position you have to buy. If you call me up and you want to see a house, I'm going to show it to you, but I'm not going to call you, because here's the deal. I want to be on your timeline, because you're in a position to where you get to dictate that, because you're on now. So I also want to make sure people understand, like, you have the power in it as long as you reach out to the right people. And if you get the right people, they'll tell you everything you need to know. But it's hard for us sometimes to ask for help. It's hard for us because we look down on this idea. We're going to go into a website and, like I said, and click on this listing in this ad, and then talk to somebody we don't know, because, like I said, it's a lack of knowledge and understanding of how the process and stuff works. You know, oh, I forgot that you're actually in the business. Well, don't forget, playa.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
Yeah,
Dave, I do want to hear from you real quick, because I would love to. Oh,
I was
go
just trying
ahead.
to keep my information up there for longer. No. I'm joking.
I'll just say from my standpoint, here's what we tell people. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say interview 3 lenders, interview 3 realtors, because just because it's one person doesn't mean that's the person that's for you. Also other lenders have different products that they have, just like Walmart has something, and Macy's has something. Like they might have different products that fit your needs at that time. So I would say, take a look at those options. And if you do have a home to sell, then yeah, you're going to also want to interview the agents to see how they list their homes. What does the marketing look like? How do they position themselves? How many homes have they sold in this area? Those things like that. Those are just questions to think about when you're looking at selling or buying. Just, you just interview people. Like, and I would love for people to come in here, say like, great. What did I tell you, Josh? Anyway, I told Josh, hey, go look at it. Go. No, I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I saw her comment on the thing. I was mesmerized. I was like, that girl cute.
No, I'm saying go look other places and compare and contrast and see what fits for you at the end of the day. Right. But do go see to that first person and say, oh yeah, I'm going to learn something from this person. And then you might find someone like, I don't know that I don't know if because this is the biggest purchase of your life for right now. Most families in America build their wealth through real estate. So it's an important thing. And, I hope people take it seriously and educate themselves. And I think first-time home buyers classes are great. I think, I agree with Josh. There are some people, but most people I think are doing them to educate people. Hopefully there's no predatory practice going on, but we're not about that. I'm just about making sure that people are good and they end up in a home. That's all. That's really the end game, whether it's with us or anybody else. I don't really care.
Man, you all, it's just, so I'm sitting there trying to look smart, right? Because, host and everything. And I am I don't want to say astounded, because I just know that there are brilliant people out in the world. And I'm just thankful that you all are here with your brilliance. I want to just put up your information real quick. And then as I'm putting it up, I would just like for you to remind everybody who you are, what you have to offer. So I would love to start. Colin, can I go ahead and start with you and put up your information, and you just give your little spiel as to who you are and contacting people?
Yeah, my name's Colin Parker Stevens. I'm a local Seattleite. Love to talk the market and love to help in any way that I can. So my information here. Shoot me an email. Find me on IG. I'd love to rope you in my my newsletter. I do a newsletter periodically. It's just an opportunity to. We talk mindset. We talk motivation. We talk methodology. We talk all that stuff. So just want to shoot that out when I can. Yeah.
Okay, and then just going across the screen, Mr. Dave Jones. I just love saying your name like that. Dave Jones.
It's like the most common name in the history of names. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to find me. That's why I got the Deacon down there. Actually, it's this way. So if you look down at there, so that's all my information there. You can find us at www.windermereabode.com. We're down in Tacoma. I'm currently the only Black owner in Windermere Network, all of their offices, as far as I know.
Wow.
And then, my wife is there as well. My wife is the real estate guru. She is Tacoma Jones. If you've heard that name, you've probably seen her. She's everywhere. And you got my IG down there. Hit me up on IG that's where I spend a lot of time there. And yeah, we're on Instagram. It's easy to find me. Just look up The Deacon, look up Windermere Abode. We're out there. We have a vlog. We have a podcast, Inside Abode podcast. If you want to learn more about everything, we have 2 years worth of podcasts. We drop every week. We just dropped one on forbearance market on Sunday. So talk to our brokers about that. So we're always just trying to give value to people and really make sure that you know what you're getting into, or just even if you aren't getting into anything and you just have education, we want to make sure that you know. And we have a vlog called Inside Abode that's on YouTube. It's on Instagram. It's on our IG page as well. We're out there. We out here. We do this.
Let's go.
I'm glad you out here. Thank you so much, Dave. Miss Jessica.
I'm Jessica Talton, Caliber Home Loans, your favorite lender. I'd be more than happy to help. I can be reached directly on my cell phone, 206-551-4058. And thanks for having me tonight.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the man who I got a chance to talk to, and he made all of this action happen because he knew everybody. He was like, I know your mama. I'm like, how you know my mama? My mama was like, yeah, I know girl.
I might actually though. No. Well, obviously, I want to thank everybody, obviously, for doing this. Like I said, I love the people that were on the call. I thank you, AJ, for even reaching out for this thing, calling, for your idea of putting this together. It's phenomenal, and for me, it's what I'm about. I'm an educator at heart more than anything, and for me, I don't see this as sales. I really don't. I don't see myself as a salesman. I see myself as an educator. And that's why I did this. And that's why this is the long game for me. So my name is Josh Bellinger. Contact me directly. I am a part of England Volkers Federal Way. But obviously, like I said, I handle all South King County, all the way down to Pierce County, Thurston County. You name it, I'll drive it. Let's do it right now. So young and hungry in the business. So you guys know I'm ready to put miles on the car just to help folks as much as I can. But I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate my wife for all these little putting on here. Alicia Bellinger,
blowing up the comments.
So yeah, I'm excited. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. I more than anything, I'm just having fun. I mean, I miss human interaction in this world that we're living in right now. So just talking with people that are just so educated is extremely important for me. So I appreciate everybody.
Absolutely. And thank you so much.
Next Wednesday, I'll be back. No, I'm joking.
and here's the thing, because there's a couple of people who are in my private chats who are now putting in questions because, late. Yeah, Julie, I'm talking to you.
What's up? Shoot.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do, and I'd like to ask you if you would be willing, I would love to do a part 2 on this because I feel like we've just scratched the surface on some of the information. And now that people are kind of tuning in and figure, oh, this is okay, I didn't even know I had this question. So I know for some people it's slowly sinking in. I would love to propose this. And you all, I know you're incredibly busy. I know you've got lots of things going on. We are now going to be moving to every other week. So I am wondering if you all would be available, not this upcoming Tuesday, but next Tuesday to answer some of these questions and do a part 2 on this. Because there's a lot of people who are now going, oh, I didn't even wait. But if that's that, then what's this? So would you all be willing
Yeah,
to maybe
I'm game.
do a part 2?
I'm always game.
I'll make it work.
Okay, because I got questions. now I got questions.
As long as you don't mind me possibly doing the call from the good old Tacoma General, because my wife is due for her child on September 28th. So the 29th, that day I'll be with her, hopefully her recovered from having we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. We went old school. So we got one boy, one girl now. So
nice.
we just hey, healthy baby. We're excited about it. So I might be do that. I don't know if I can come right now. My wife's probably gonna hit you with another emoji.
Wait. Let's see. Did she say something? Oh my God.
He's
there you
go. Wifey jumped in the chat.
I might have to have both of y'all on here and the baby. Okay, let's just get the whole family. So we'll see what it ends up looking like. But for now, it sounds like we're going to be doing a part 2 of real estate, the American dream, and how do we navigate this? Because now folks are jumping in and going, "Oh wait, I." I'm like, y'all should have been here earlier, but that's okay. You probably were stopping at Mickey D's. It's all right. I understand.
Travis Scott.
And then tell Cactus Jack sent you.
Okay, your wife, I'm gonna take her to coffee because I need to know her.
She's in here talking.
right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Don't say that was so weird.
But what I am also excited is I am, as I said before, I'm just offering for our panelists to just add some things to my page. So I'm going to let you all take over my business page and share great information with people so they can know, and then build up to our part two. Maybe we can answer some questions along the way, because you all have great information that I know can't be compressed into an hour. So thank you so much for your time, for your knowledge, for your passion and your heart for humans. Thank you so much. And we, like I said, we are together, we're undefeated. And together
Right.
we are going to defeat the things that have kept people from home ownership. I put it on my Facebook and I made a declaration. My goal is to help 20 families connect to people to get them into home ownership.
Love it.
Wow,
Over the next
that's
year.
awesome.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I know anything, but I'm gonna get them to you guys. I'm gonna get them to the people who know, because if I don't know, I know people who do, and I just want people to win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm tired. I'll end the broadcast with this. I'm not saying this for sympathy. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to live in your car. I know what it's like to not have anywhere to go. I don't want anybody to feel like that. I'm blessed now. I have an amazing home. I have an amazing family, but it wasn't always like that. And I know that there's some people who are out there who are looking at this and saying, this isn't real. This can't happen. It can't. I'm saying from experience, it can happen. And my goal is to get people to you all so they can tell, I don't want people to know what it's like to be in government housing. I don't want kids growing up with that knowledge. I want them growing up with the knowledge of, this is our family's home. And when I get old enough, or when my parents pass away, I'm going to own this.
Yeah.
I want that legacy for
Yep.
people. I don't care what color you are, but especially for those who this has not been afforded to them and it's not been widely available. Obviously, we're going there first. But I want every human here to know what it's like to be home. That's a powerful, powerful feeling. And you all are the folks to bring it in. So I am so thankful for each one of you. Thank you for tuning in for Miss AJ Says. We will see you in the next 2 weeks. We will have part 2 of this. We'll also find out, is it a boy? Is it a girl? We'll find out.
Hey, we need to live stream that.
Right.
Oh,
No, not. Come
Well,
on, man.
I gotta go. I'm
I called him.
mixed reviews from that. I don't know. We'll find out how Tristina feels about that too, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, no. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing night. Thank you for tuning in to Miss HS Says. We'll see you next episode. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.